Rules have always been the invisible architecture of civilization. Invisible until someone dares to shatter them. From the Wright brothers defying beliefs about human flight to rock musicians ignoring every established chord progression, rule breakers are the ones who advance human potential. In the automotive world, no single machine embodied this rebellious spirit more definitively than the McLaren F1. This wasn't just a supercar. This was a middle finger to every conventional automotive rule. So, how did designer Gordon Murray create the blueprint that supercars still follow 30 years later? This is the story of the McLaren F1. It's 1992. The automotive world is following a well-established formula. Supercars like the Ferrari F40, Lamborghini Diablo, all played by the same rules. Massive turbocharged engines and styling that often took precedence over functionality. This was the unquestioned template for building supercars. But one man wasn't interested in following templates. That man was Gordon Murray, one of Formula One's greatest designers. Having designed championship-winning race cars already, Murray approached road car design with the precision of a race engineer. Unlike Italian and German manufacturers who viewed road cars as their primary business, Murray saw the F1 road car as a pure engineering exercise. A Formula One car disguised as something you could drive to dinner. But while every competitor was chasing horsepower through turbocharging, Murray adamantly rejected forced induction. He wanted instantaneous throttle response and fantastic sound. You see, turbochargers of the era induced lag, that frustrating delay between pressing the throttle and feeling the power. For Murray, this was unacceptable. While it was the easier path to headline-grabbing power figures, it compromised the driving experience. So, it had to go. This rebellion extended to driver aids as well. In an era when power steering, ABS, and traction control were becoming standard on high-performance cars, Murray stripped them all away. No power steering, no brake assist, no electronic stability systems. And his reasoning for this was simple. Murray wanted raw, undiluted feedback. And these systems did nothing but dilute the connection between driver and machine. But perhaps the most visible rejection of supercar convention was the F1's central driving position. This wasn't some bizarre styling exercise, but a fundamental engineering choice that prioritized the driver above all else. Positioning the driver centrally provided perfect weight distribution and uncompromised visibility. The driver sat forward, with two passengers slightly behind and to each side, a configuration that perfectly balanced the car and gave the driver a perspective no other road car could match. But the F1's greatness was about more than the interior, because Murray had another obsession that bordered on madness: weight reduction. When a standard titanium toolkit was deemed too heavy, Murray had a special one made with magnesium tools. The F1's horn button weighed precisely 1.8 grams because anything heavier was unnecessary. Even the owner's manual was printed on ultra-lightweight paper to save a few grams. This approach stood in dark contrast to how other supercars were developed. Ferrari, Lamborghini, and others operated through committees and boards, balancing engineering with marketing requirements. Murray's team, by comparison, was small and focused. They answered to no marketing department. But perhaps the most powerful example of Murray's vision was his partnership with BMW. When he approached them to build an engine for the F1, he didn't just ask for power. He demanded a bespoke, naturally aspirated V12 that would be light, compact, and responsive. At a time when BMW could have easily suggested a turbocharged solution, they instead created the 6.1-liter S70-2, a masterpiece of naturally aspirated engineering. This engine produced 618 horsepower without forced induction and weighed just 586 pounds. But more importantly, it delivered throttle response that remains legendary to this day. But a BMW engine was only one part of a much larger rebellion. In 1992, building an entire production car from carbon fiber wasn't just ambitious, it was considered fundamentally impossible by the automotive establishment. You see, a typical supercar of the era relied on a steel chassis with aluminum or fiberglass body panels. Murray's team, however, was quietly pioneering manufacturing techniques that had never before existed outside of race car garages and aerospace facilities. This wasn't just about swapping materials. The F1's carbon fiber body required splitting the structure into 48 separate sections, a painstaking process that demanded precision beyond what traditional manufacturing could deliver. Carbon fiber did have legendary strength-to-weight ratio, but working with it was an entirely different challenge. But the carbon revolution was just beginning. Look at any component on the F1 and you'll find materials that had no business being in a production vehicle in 1992. The engine bay? Lined with 24-karat gold foil. Not because it looked impressive, but gold's heat-reflective properties made it the most effective heat shield available. This was a perfect example of Murray's philosophy. The gold wasn't there to impress. It was there because it was the optimal engineering solution. Even the toolkit that came with the car embodied this approach. While other manufacturers might include basic wrenches and screwdrivers, the F1's tools were crafted from titanium and coated with gold. This wasn't mere extravagance, it was a statement about the car's comprehensive commitment to lightweight materials and uncompromised performance. The relentless pursuit of perfection extended to every component, no matter how small. Even the stereo was subjected to Murray's weight-obsessed scrutiny. This approach created a fundamental disconnect between the F1 and its contemporaries. While other manufacturers were designing supercars through committee decisions and market research, the F1 existed in a parallel universe. Murray's team wasn't trying to fit into the existing supercar landscape. They were creating something entirely new. The F1's revolutionary approach to materials became the template that modern hypercars still follow today. Look at any current hypercar, from Pagani to Koenigsegg, and you'll see carbon fiber structures and exotic material combinations that trace their road car lineage directly back to the F1.